In what could become one of the most consequential storylines of this NBA season, the Los Angeles Clippers and veteran guard James Harden are reportedly exploring a potential trade just days before the league's February 5 deadline, a move that could reshape the makeup of multiple Western Conference contenders and send shockwaves across the league. Like this video and subscribe to the channel for daily NBA trade deadline updates. The NBA trade deadline always brings drama, intrigue, and uncertainty, but few names carry as much weight as James Harden, the former MVP and perennial All-Star, whose career has taken him across several franchises and generations of basketball. Now, as the calendar flips to February, Harden's future in Los Angeles appears to be at the center of intense discussions involving the Clippers and multiple potential suitors. Share your thoughts in the comments. Where do you think Harden should end up? At the heart of this story is the Clippers' internal evaluation of their roster, performance, and direction as they sit on the edge of playoff contention. According to league insiders, the Clippers and Harden have begun exploring trade possibilities in advance of Thursday's deadline, with the Cleveland Cavaliers among the teams expressing serious interest in acquiring him. The talks are described as exploratory at this stage, meaning both sides are gauging whether there's a deal that could be mutually beneficial before the deadline arrives. James Harden, who turns 36 later this season, is technically only under contract for this year with the Clippers, and he holds veto power over any trade due to the structure of his deal. The second year of his two-year, $81.5 million contract, signed last offseason, is a player option rather than a fully guaranteed commitment, giving Harden significant control over where he plays next. This potential move is notable for a number of reasons. First, Harden's star power and offensive production, even at this stage of his career, make him one of the most impactful trade chips available before the deadline. Second, the Clippers acquired Harden from the Philadelphia 76ers in 2023 to pair him with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George in what was widely viewed as a championship aspirational core. But the reality of the 2025-26 season has not matched those lofty hopes. The Clippers have struggled at times to find consistency, slumping below .500 in the standings and failing to consistently contend with the Western Conference's elite. Along the way, Paul George departed in free agency, and the team was hit with other challenges, including George's league suspension, which further disrupted continuity. With the Clippers sitting around 23-26 on the season and trailing in the competitive Pacific Division, trading Harden opens several possible paths for the franchise. On one hand, they could stand pat and keep him as part of the core in hopes of making a late push into the postseason. On the other, they could flip his contract and talent for future assets, draft picks, young players, or cap flexibility in a bid to retool rather than bend the current roster further out of balance. One important wrinkle is that Harden's absence from recent games has sparked even more speculation. He sat out key matchups, including a win in Phoenix and a home loss to the Philadelphia 76ers, for personal reasons, leading some observers to wonder about his mindset and readiness for the second half of the season. Clippers head coach Tyronn Lue has declined to comment on trade discussions directly, but emphasized Harden's importance to the franchise, saying he is someone the team values and would ideally like to keep. That tension between loyalty to a franchise cornerstone and the pragmatism of roster construction captures exactly why this potential trade is such a major NBA storyline. Harden's resume is storied: scoring, peak playoff runs, and a career that has swept across multiple marquee franchises, including Oklahoma City, Houston, Brooklyn, Philadelphia, and now Los Angeles. His combination of scoring, playmaking, and experience is rare, even later in his career. The Cavaliers' reported interest adds another intriguing dimension. Cleveland has been a rising force in the Eastern Conference, blending a strong supporting cast around key veterans and emerging talent. Adding a ball-handling creator like Harden could dramatically change their offensive identity and playoff seeding prospects. However, acquiring him would likely require significant outgoing assets, and cap restrictions could complicate how any deal is structured. It is also worth noting that the Clippers' search for trade solutions has not been limited to Harden. League insiders have discussed the Clippers' need to reshape their roster at the deadline overall, considering various players and scenarios that could transform them from a middling playoff hopeful into a legitimate contender. Some analysts have pointed to the Clippers' struggles and suggested broader roster turnover might eventually come, though no definitive package has surfaced publicly beyond the Harden talks. From a broader league perspective, this potential move comes amid a swirling deadline landscape across the NBA. Teams from coast to coast are evaluating how best to position themselves for the postseason, whether by bolstering rosters with established stars or accumulating draft capital and future flexibility. The trade deadline often reshapes the competitive balance of the league, and in 2026, that dynamic feels especially pronounced with so many franchises jockeying for position behind early season leaders. If you're tracking all the trade rumors, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss a major move. But let's bring it back to the Clippers. For the franchise and its fans, the decision on Harden's future is loaded with real implications. Keeping him could signal belief in the current core's ability to gel and make playoff noise. Moving him could acknowledge that the current window needs fresh blood or strategic reset. In either scenario, how the Clippers handle this trade drama will likely define their short-term fate and long-term identity. Share your thoughts in the comments. Should the Clippers trade Harden or keep him? In closing, the NBA trade deadline isn't just about blockbuster names and bold headlines. It's about the fine margins that can separate a playoff run from an off-season rebuild. James Harden's potential trade from the Clippers isn't just a transaction, it's a turning point for a franchise and a defining story in a league where every move echoes beyond the hardwood. As we approach the final hours before the deadline, stay tuned right here for the latest developments, analysis, and expert breakdowns of every twist and turn. This is the kind of NBA story that could shape the rest of the season, and we'll be here to tell it as it unfolds.